Vultures 2. So, this is the second installment in the Vultures series. I think there's going to be three of them. Oh boy. So, it has a critic score of a 40 and a user score of a 33. In contrast, there's Vultures 1 that has critic scores of a 43 and a user score of a 48. Going back to Vultures 1, what I said in that review is that while I think the album is pretty messy and it's not the greatest thing in the world, the bones of that record were at least interesting. You did have songs like Talking on there that I really enjoyed. You do have the fun bangers like Carnival and Fuck Some with Playboy Cardi. But overall, I still think Vultures 1 is still a pretty nothing of a release. But in contrast to Vultures 2, Vultures 1 I at least felt like have some purpose. Vultures 2 really does not. And there's a big thing going around of people saying it's just like, oh, it's not finished, so you can't review it. I could care less. The album has been released, and what I could say is that with The Life of Pablo, even if parts of it weren't completely fully finished, the album that I was given on day one when it was released was still a very quality project. And the first draft of it did offer still the incredible moments, the fun bangers, and you still get some really cool nuggets of Kanye West on A Life of Pablo that I was willing to wait it out until the final version of that project released. Vultures 2, when you really compare the two, is there really anything to return to that is on the level of A Life of Pablo? To me, absolutely not. And to talk about some of the mixing problems that I have, I believe it's Time Moving Slow, where Kanye's vocals sound fine, but Ty Dolla $ign's vocals are all the way out over here. It sounds so much more quieter, and it really causes the song to lack depth. And it's probably going to get fixed, but again, I'm not going to be sticking around for when it does get fixed because you gave me this project. What else am I supposed to do? Just wait until it gets better? No. So Ty Dolla $ign's vocals seem like he's so far away from the mic, and it causes the song to just feel that all the momentum and all the feeling of just this depth of the song is just completely gone. It's completely mute. This is another probably thing more or less about the production. The sample, the loop in Lifestyle is so loud, it's so crackly, it's so staticky that it really causes me not really to get into the verses of Wayne and Kanye on here. It's just so loud and so upfront in the mix that I can't get engaged with it. Same thing with the Kodak verse, I forget on what song it was, but the first part of the song is fine. But once it gets to Kodak Black's part, it's just so absolutely loud that I cannot understand a word that Kodak is saying. And it's so upfront that that's all I focus on is how absolutely loud and just really abrasive the instrumental gets in that portion of the album. And then, of course, there's the alleged AI verses on Sky City. And I'm inclined to believe that these are AI because the writing on Sky City is a lot better than a lot of the project on here. And I believe it's on the first verse. Like Sci Hi the Prince has been tied with this song, and you can honestly tell because the writing feels so much more professional, it feels more calculated, and it's engaging, it's interesting. But instead of me praising the writing and talking about how good the song is, now I just tie it to it's the AI Kanye song, and I lose all connection and attachment to it whatsoever. So those are the big mixing and controversial issues that is going on with this record. I'm still reviewing it. You gave me this project. I'm going to review it. I'm not going to say it's unfinished and just kind of leave it as is. I'm not going to do that. I'm reviewing this thing. And another big problem that I have with this project is I think Kanye just really has nothing to say on this project. And at least with Vultures 1, even the singles before that, there was controversies. There was all these kind of stuff that was going on behind the scenes and very public in the limelight that at least gave him something to talk about. But on Vultures 2, it just feels so soulless and empty. And also, not to mention, it's just overtly sexual. And Kanye's like 47 years old, and I kind of have grown out of this phase of finding these really off the wall sex bars funny, like grab for the popcorn, oops, that's my cock. Okay. And then there's the other line too. It's just like they're giving out blowjobs. I applied. Two women on top of each other screwed them both, and it's just like, where are we? Where Kanye just a couple of years ago in Donda had such this amazing emotional peak, and in an alternate universe, Donda would have been the last album that Kanye released. And even with all the ups and downs, even with all the controversies, all the things that he's gone through and has done, I could at least say with Donda that it's just like, at least I feel like there was somewhat of a happy ending. That I feel like there was a little bit of a redemption arc showing up in that project. In contrast to here, now we just kept on going to the point where we're making these really dumb and stupid sex bars. And also, not to mention, Kanye again has nothing to write about, nothing to say. And it makes his performances seem just, they don't need to exist. They're pointless to me. And they just offer nothing of value. Ty Dolla Sign's performances, I guess, are probably the best part of this project. Of course, he's a great singer. But you kind of get this Ty Dolla Sign on so many other features that he's all over the place at this point. You probably will get better performances out of him on features than on this project. And with Ty Dolla Sign being attached to this project and him being all over the place in features, it's just kind of just becomes just another Ty Dolla Sign performance to me. And don't get me wrong, Ty Dolla Sign's still a great performer and he brings some good features and stuff. But over the course of a project, it's just like I felt like I've heard these features before. Overall, it's just I don't know, like, this project really doesn't offer anything. The production just kind of is just there. There really isn't these really great moments to it, in my opinion. There's Fried that kind of just sounds like a Carnival ripoff. There's 530. 530 brings a little bit of that vintage Kanye back, but kind of going back into the unfinished feeling of this project. The whole last verse of it, it's just completely flubbed. It's slurred verses, and I'm not gonna wait around for that verse to be revised. Like, you gave me this verse, and it just causes the last minute and 30 seconds of this project to just drag and drag and drag on, when I had such a high from 530 where it does feel like there's some kind of personal moment kind of shining through here. It doesn't work. Bomb with Northwest just talking Japanese for some reason, and the beat just sounds like this really weird drill mix. It's really annoying. It's a mess. It doesn't work. There's some parts of this album that I do enjoy though. Like, there's very little pieces. River, I think, is the most fully realized song on this project, and I really like the Young Thug feature, and I just really enjoy again, Kanye has something to write about Free Young Thug, and kind of having that little lyrical tidbit to at least work on to make the song interesting. You get Field Trip. I think Field Trip has one of the best production or best produced beats on this album. It does sound fun. It sounds a little bit more kind of higher energy, and it brings at least a little bit of what this album at least could have been. And in towards the middle portion of this project, there is Isabella, Husband, and Promotion. I don't know if I got the track sequencing together correctly, but there's almost like this little like sub concept in this little bit where it's just a woman in the Beverly Hills, what she really needs to settle down with a husband. And there's like this little tiny concept mixed into this record, and the top record doesn't acknowledge it, the bottom record doesn't acknowledge it either. So having it here, like, maybe there was some kind of vision of this project that's just not realized at all, or maybe this was just thrown together and that happened to kind of just put together in itself. Overall, this album is just a total mess. It is one of the worst albums of the year, and I don't care that it's not done. It's still a 2 out of 10 to me. And even if it is finished, even if we do get some better mixes, and even if we do get some actual performances out of the moments that we should have got to begin with, it's still not an interesting project, and it's not worthy enough to me to come back and return this thing on repeat listens. If Kanye fans want to get mad at me, uh, do it. That's fine. I'm more than welcome to take a bunch of beatings over a project and over from a person that you keep on giving passes to give you such incredibly poor and mediocre projects, and it's all been downhill ever since. If you want to keep defending this crap, go ahead. If you want to kill me for it, go for it. I'm sticking with the 2 out of 10, and even if this album does get finished, it's still staying at a 2 out of 10. I could care less. Thank you much for watching, though. Hit the like, comment, and subscribe. You can hit dislike if you want to. I always like seeing dislikes and hate comments. It's actually quite fun to see people get mad at me for things. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you again soon.